Minutes after turning 18, Lil Tay launched an OnlyFans page that made over $1 million in just 3 hours, breaking a record that was set by Danielle Bregoli, aka Bad Baby, back in 2021 when she did the exact same thing. How many times do we need to see this cycle repeat before it's illegal for children to become influencers? And how much more evidence do we need to prove that our culture is complicit in child exploitation? Lil Tay went live on TikTok and joked about offering OF content to all the people who pre-ordered it, the people who sexualized her when she was still a child. And make no mistake, the idea that she's a child is the selling point. On her page, it says, "Please don't tell my mom." Tay also claimed that several adult entertainment companies contacted her to ink a deal. A whole lot of agencies have been hitting me up even before my birthday saying, "We'll give you $30 to $40 million to sign with us and drop the link with us." This is the ugly truth. A culture that's willing to pimp out a kid influencer for online clout at 9 years old or at 13 years old is the same culture that encourages them to pimp themselves out later down the line.
A girl turns 18. She's barely left childhood behind, barely begun adulthood. Within hours of crossing that line, she launches an OnlyFans account. 3 hours later, she's made $1 million. That isn't a movie script. It was the reality of internet personality Lil Tay, who had been paraded online since she was 9. Ask yourself, how does a child get to that point? How does a girl spend her formative years flexing money, swearing on camera, and by 18, turn her body into a commodity for strangers? It doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens because the groundwork was laid years earlier. And who laid it? Her mother. This is the uncomfortable truth. Too often the mother is not the protector. She's the one grooming, pushing, enabling. Men need to hear this because culture has taught us to trust mothers by default. History shows we cannot. Lil Tay and the grooming path. At 9, Lil Tay became famous as the youngest flexer alive. Luxury cars, cash stacks, profanity, all scripted, all staged. But a 9-year-old doesn't orchestrate that. Reports revealed her mother, Angela, was the one arranging access to luxury homes and filming the antics. She was the adult in charge, and she let it happen. Fast forward. Lil Tay turns 18. The very first thing she does is cash in on OnlyFans. Silence from her mother. No public condemnation, no protection, just indifference, which, in this case, is consent. Bad Baby. Same story, same pattern. Another young girl, Danielle Bregoli, better known as Bad Baby, gained fame at 13 for her "Cash Me Outside" line on Dr. Phil. Her mother signed the waivers, allowed her to be mocked on TV, and stood by as her daughter became a meme. At 18, Danielle launched an OnlyFans. 6 hours later, she'd made over $1 million, breaking records at the time. She later claimed she cleared more than $50 million from the platform. And again, the mother didn't stop it. She enabled the career path that led to it. Brooke Shields, one of Hollywood's biggest precedents. If you think this is new, think again. In 1978, 12-year-old Brooke Shields starred in Pretty Baby, playing a child prostitute. The role included nudity. Who signed the contract? Her mother, Terry. Later, Terry also greenlit provocative Calvin Klein ads with the infamous line, "You want to know what comes between me and my Calvins? Nothing." Brooke has admitted she felt confused and powerless. But what chance did she have? Her mother wasn't her protector. She was her manager. Other cases, same pattern. Drew Barrymore's mother took her to Hollywood parties as a child, exposing her to drugs and chaos instead of protecting her. Lindsay Lohan's mother pushed her relentlessly into the spotlight, chasing fame and money. Gypsy Rose Blanchard's mother fabricated illnesses, exploiting her for sympathy and donations. Different stories, same dynamic. Mothers sacrificing daughters' well-being for attention, money, or their own unmet needs. The first warning to fathers. Here's the red pill reality. Mothers are not automatically safe guardians. When unchecked, many project their insecurities, envies, and ambitions onto their daughters. Some live through them. Some resent their youth and beauty. Some see them as financial tickets. And often, mother and daughter form a secret bond against the father, hiding underage relationships, provocative behavior, or even early steps into sexual exploitation. Don't tell dad becomes the unifying theme. This is why men cannot afford to be passive. You cannot simply assume your daughter is fine because her mom's with her. Too many stories show the opposite. We've already seen the pattern. Lil Tay, Bad Baby, Brooke Shields, Drew Barrymore, Lindsay Lohan. Case after case of mothers not acting as protectors, but as enablers. The question now is why? Why would a mother do this to her own child? And what does it mean for men, especially fathers, in today's collapsing cultural landscape? The psychology of mothers who groom their daughters. It's tempting to assume these mothers are simply evil, that they're deliberately selling their daughters' innocence for profit. In many cases, that's partly true. But the psychology goes deeper, and it's important for men to understand these dynamics so they can spot them in their own homes. 1. Narcissism and the need for validation. Many mothers who exploit their daughters are narcissists. They see their child not as a separate human being, but as an extension of themselves. Their daughter becomes a mirror reflecting back the mother's own worth, beauty, and social value. When the mother is aging, insecure, or bitter about her own missed opportunities, the daughter becomes the vessel through which she reclaims attention. If the mother was never noticed, never admired, never valued, she pushes her daughter into the spotlight, no matter the cost. The validation the daughter receives online becomes validation for the mother. Every like, every view, every dollar is a proxy ego boost. The mother grooms because, in her mind, it's her success. 2. Envy of youth and beauty. There's a darker psychological driver here. Envy. Women know their sexual marketplace value declines with age. They know that beauty and youth are fleeting. And when they see their own daughters entering the prime years of attraction, envy seeps in. Instead of protecting their daughters from predatory men, they push them toward it, because deep down, they resent the fact that their daughter is now the young, desirable one. They want to control that power. They want to harness it. If they can't be the young beauty anymore, they'll at least manage her. This is why you'll sometimes see mothers dressing their teenage daughters provocatively, encouraging them to post selfies, laughing off male attention as just part of growing up. It's not innocent. It's envy cloaked in complicity. 3. Living vicariously through the child. Another common motive, living vicariously. The mother who never made it as a singer, actress, or influencer now sees her daughter as the second chance. So she pushes, she grooms, she convinces herself it's opportunity, not exploitation. But the line blurs quickly, and before long, the daughter isn't pursuing her own dreams. She's acting out her mother's unfulfilled fantasies. We saw this with stage moms in Hollywood. We see it with mothers who put their daughters in beauty pageants at 5 years old, in dance competitions with sexualized routines, in TikTok videos at age 10 wearing makeup. The mother doesn't see the harm because she's chasing her own missed shot at stardom. 4. Financial desperation. And finally, let's not ignore money. Grooming is profitable. Lil Tay's mother knew the antics would generate clicks, and clicks meant ad revenue and clout. Bad Baby's mother knew controversy would lead to record deals. Brooke Shields' mother knew scandalous roles meant paychecks. A daughter becomes a financial asset, a means of survival, a retirement plan. And when financial desperation combines with narcissism and envy, the result is catastrophic. The mother won't stop. She'll justify it. She'll frame exploitation as empowerment. And the daughter is dragged along, powerless. The daughter's psychological trap. Now let's flip the lens. What happens to the daughters who endure this grooming? What is the psychological toll? 1. Learned compliance. From an early age, these girls are conditioned to comply. The mother tells them what to wear, what to say, how to act. Disobedience isn't an option. The child learns, if I make mom happy, I'm safe. If I resist, I lose her love. This compliance sticks. By the time she's 18, she doesn't feel like she's choosing OnlyFans. She feels like she's fulfilling destiny. 2. Shame and confusion. Deep down, these girls know something is wrong. But how do you articulate that at age 12? How do you fight back when the very person who should protect you is the one grooming you? The result is shame. Buried, festering shame. They don't want to admit they feel exploited, because that would mean admitting their mother betrayed them. So they repress it. But repressed shame doesn't disappear. It mutates into depression, substance abuse, reckless behavior, or toxic relationships. Look at the histories of Drew Barrymore, Lindsay Lohan, Britney Spears. Each case shows how shame festers when exploitation starts young. 3. Dependency on external validation. A groomed daughter learns that love equals performance, that attention equals worth. That validation from strangers is the only measure of success. This dependency follows them into adulthood. It's why so many OnlyFans stars spiral into extremes. More explicit content, more shocking stunts, more degradation. They can't stop chasing the validation hit. Because at the root, they never learned self-worth. They only learned to serve as a product. 4. Silence in the face of grooming. Here's a chilling truth. Many daughters never speak out against their mothers. Why? Because they're trapped in a web of emotional loyalty. To admit their mother groomed them is to admit their own childhood was stolen. It's easier to stay silent, easier to believe the lie. This is why Brooke Shields, only much later in life, began openly talking about how damaging her roles were. It's why Drew Barrymore has expressed both love and resentment toward her mother. The silence isn't consent. It's paralysis. The secret mother-daughter alliance against fathers. And now we reach the part that men need to hear most clearly. Mothers who groom don't just exploit their daughters. They also form secret alliances with them, alliances that cut the father out. Think about it. When a mother lets her teenage daughter dress provocatively, sneaks her out to parties, or laughs off her overaged boyfriend, do you think the father would approve? Of course not. That's why it's hidden. When a mother takes her daughter to get birth control behind the father's back, or supports her OnlyFans account, or helps her navigate secret online relationships, she is actively undermining the father's authority. And here's the brutal truth. Daughters often bond with their mothers over these secrets. They share laughs, whispers, conspiracies. Don't tell dad. The mother becomes the cool parent, the ally. The father becomes the enemy, the authoritarian, the clueless man in the dark. This dynamic is deadly, because once the father is cut out, he has no chance of steering his daughter's path. He doesn't even know what he's fighting against. The role of divorce and custody bias. Now, let's bring in the statistics. Because this isn't just about celebrities. It's about everyday families. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, about 1 in 4 children live without a biological father in the home. That's over 18 million children in America alone. Studies show children in father-absent homes are more likely to face poverty, behavioral problems, and early sexual activity. The Bureau of Justice Statistics found that fatherless daughters are significantly more likely to become pregnant as teenagers. Why is this relevant? Because in most divorces, custody goes to the mother. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, about 80% of custodial parents are mothers. That means when families break apart, the daughter ends up primarily under the mother's influence. And if that mother is narcissistic, envious, or financially desperate, the daughter is at risk of being groomed. Fathers who assume the court will protect my daughter are deluding themselves. The court favors the mother, and society assumes the mother is the safe parent. But time and time again, we see the opposite. Why men must stay vigilant. Here's the red pill warning, men. Do not abdicate your role as protector. Do not assume your daughter is safe just because her mother is present. Do not trust blindly. If you're married, stay engaged. Ask questions. Know your daughter's friends, her online activity, her ambitions. Don't let your wife be the sole filter of information. If you're divorced, fight for custody. Don't settle for weekends. Don't accept being a visitor in your daughter's life. Because when you step back, the mother steps in. And history shows what happens next. You must be willing to be unpopular, to be the bad guy, to say no when your wife or daughter calls you controlling, because boundaries are not oppression, boundaries are protection. The dire warning. Look at Lil Tay, look at Bod Baby, look at Brooke Shields, look at Drew Barrymore, look at Lindsay Lohan. The pattern is there, written in blood and tears across decades of history. When fathers are absent or passive, mothers often lead their daughters into destruction. And once the daughter is groomed, there is no undoing it. You cannot unsexualize a child paraded online. You cannot give her back her innocence. You cannot heal scars carved in adolescence. The cost is permanent. So fathers, hear this warning. Stay vigilant, stay active, stay unflinching in your role as protector. Because the world is not kind. The internet is not kind. And yes, even the mother of your child may not be kind. The myth of the saintly, protective mother is just that. A myth. Too many mothers have proven otherwise. So if you love your daughter, do not trust blindly. Watch, guide, lead, protect. Because if you don't, there's a line of men with credit cards waiting to do what her mother won't stop. And by then, it will be too late.